Am I wrong for CCing all of the family, friends, and coworker after my husband divorced me via email? I, 47 female, woke up yesterday morning to an email from my husband of 21 years, 50 male, entitled Working Things Out. Very deceptive title because instead of arranging a meeting or even a phone call, my husband goes on all 4 paragraphs soapbox speech about how marriage is supposed to be, for the most part, an in-person commitment and that it pains him to say this, but this cannot go on anymore. He goes on in a very clinical, detached tone to describe how us not speaking for a week before our big fight and then not hearing from me for the week afterwards is abandonment for him, so he's filing for divorce. I mean, he could have talked to you too. He then asked me to tell me what things of mine I wanted him to ship and that he wants to do things fairly via mediation. Also said he'd only be responding to calls regarding our daughter and to contact his lawyer for everything else. This is the straw that broke the camel's back for me, because leading up to Thanksgiving, he's already been complaining that he's spending the holidays alone and it's all my fault. For a little context, I moved with my daughter, 16 female, from Kentucky to Atlanta 3 years ago because she wants to get into acting and singing. She's now attending a performing arts high school and trying to make a living acting. My husband was supportive at first. He sent in 60 applications to jobs in Atlanta. But even though he's been a manager at a motel for 13 years here, he only got entry-level interviews. My husband initially said there's FaceTime and he has airline points, but soon I saw how inflexible he was. Every conversation was unbearable because if I picked his brain, I knew I'd be running into a brick wall. Instead of learning to enjoy long distance, it was like, fulfilling marriage, long distance, nope. He asked us to move back during the actor strike. At that time, we had already agreed that he could sleep with others as long as he fulfilled his other obligations. Hey yo! He agreed to our arrangement, but dumped the woman after a month and got more petty, saying the woman he wants wouldn't be into married men. Our final fight happened when I said we were going to have a virtual Thanksgiving with my mom and wish her recovery from her surgery. He said, why don't you come back and tell her in person? He also said instead of giving input over Christmas decorations to come back and do it in person. He said he had more intimacy with the escort than me because it was in person, and I called him a hospitality manager stereotype, unable to adapt to any change and stuck in his path. The fury boiled over after his email, and I replied and CC'd the extended family, friends who only hear from him and his side, and his coworker and friends of the family, just to tell them that the man who says he's a peacemaker is divorcing me over email and that he's been seeing other women and saying that his 1 month fling with an escort was more fulfilling. Am I wrong? My only regret is that a friend's kid got a hold of the email and I've had to shield my daughter and explain that her dad is divorcing me. I, 28 female, lost weight, and now I want to divorce my husband, 29 male. We've been married for 5 years and together for 7. We also have a 3-year-old kid. After having the baby, I struggled a lot with losing the baby weight and adjusting to being a parent. I also had the baby blues at first, which was tough. I wasn't really focused on my appearance, and instead I was trying to figure out our new routine and way of life. But then my husband started making these little comments about my body and how I should start working out and wearing makeup again. It made me feel really awful, and I worried that he might start looking elsewhere because we weren't being intimate anymore. He even suggested hiring a nanny so I could have more time for myself, but I wanted to be there for our baby full time, so I turned down the offer. That made him angry, and he started acting cold towards me. Months went by without any hugs, kisses, romance, or any kind of affection. My self-esteem hit rock bottom. Every time I looked in the mirror, all I saw were the flaws that my husband pointed out. By this point, our son was already 2 years old, and I desperately wanted to win my husband back. I thought if I got into shape again, he would show me love and affection, and our marriage would be saved. I craved his attention so much, and it hurt to see how much things have changed. But you can't force someone to be affectionate. I took matters into my own hands and hired some help. With more free time, I started going to the gym, taking swim classes, getting my hair and lashes done regularly, and eating healthier. And guess what? I've lost a ton of weight and I feel amazing. Suddenly, my husband started touching me, kissing me, buying me flowers, and treating me like the complete opposite of how he treated me before. You'd think that would make me feel better, but for some reason, it made me feel worse. All I could think about were the hurtful things he said to me when I was at my lowest and how cold he was towards me. I get that you can't force attraction, but why couldn't he just hug me or give me a kiss on the cheek even when I was overweight? Why couldn't he love me as a human being and the mother of his child? When my self-esteem came back, I got really angry at myself for putting up with this behavior for so long. A few days ago, I told him I wanted a divorce because I don't think I can move past how badly he treated me. He apologized and promised to change and prove that he can be better. But honestly, I'm not sure if I can trust him again. What if I gain weight again or have to deal with health issues? Will he treat me like garbage again? I've talked to some friends and family about the whole situation, and some say I should give him another chance, while others say I should leave him. Am I being justified in being upset over this? Do you think it's possible for my husband to change his behavior for the long term, or is a divorce the right move here? See, the thing is, he 1000% changed his tune because you became more attractive in his eyes. So it comes down to two things like you just can't get back to how you were and you can have a happy, healthy marriage. But that like voice nagging at the back of your head, it's like, what if you have another baby, you gain weight or you get sick? And a lot of stuff can cause you to gain weight. And you're going to go through that again just to be like, damn, I fell for it twice. This is hard.
Am I the asshole for refusing to lend my designer purse to my sister-in-law for her wedding? I, 24 female, have a Chanel purse that was a gift from my parents when I graduated college. It's by far the most expensive thing I own. My brother recently got married, and his new wife, Amy, asked if she could borrow my Chanel purse for their wedding day photos and reception. Amy doesn't own any designer bags and really wanted one to complete her wedding look. I politely declined to lend her my purse. That purse is extremely valuable to me, and the thought of something happening to it makes me anxious. Amy called me selfish and materialistic for not lending it to her for the wedding. She said I was more concerned about a status symbol than helping family. But my parents...
Says you? Like, what?
My parents and brother also got upset with me, saying I should be willing to share my things with family, but I don't think I should have to hand over my most prized possession just because it's for a wedding. Now the whole family is angry with me. Am I the asshole for not lending my sister-in-law my expensive designer purse for her wedding? She's acting like I ruined her big day over this, but I think it was an unreasonable request.
Well, first of all, no, I don't think you're an asshole. If you don't want someone to borrow your stuff, like you don't owe them that. And if it makes you really anxious too, why should you have to put yourself in that situation? I mean, it's an expensive purse. And outside of it being expensive, it was a gift from your family members.
Yeah, there's sentimental value there.
Yeah, so there's a lot of importance behind that purse. So I don't think that OP needs to explain herself. If she doesn't want to borrow something to somebody, then that's it. But what I thought was so funny is the sister-in-law's reaction. I mean, it's like, why do you want somebody else's purse for your wedding photos? I mean, it's fine, but why are you so upset? And then you're going to say she only cares about a symbol. Isn't that what you're doing?
Pot, kettle?
Yes, exactly.
Like how I thought it was so comical.
Right.
Like, you're calling me materialistic because I won't borrow you my purse so you can appear in photos like you're wealthy.
Right.
It's a status symbol.
Right.
That sounds materialistic to me. Am I the asshole for not letting my mother-in-law and father-in-law help me with the baby after their reaction to me being injured? I, 21 female, have a 7-month-old son with my boyfriend. My family lives abroad and are coming to stay and help over Christmas time. For now, my mother-in-law and father-in-law, 60s, Deborah and Bob, are helping me with household stuff and the baby. So far, we haven't had any real issues, and they've been a massive help. About 3 weeks ago, I fell down the stairs. I wasn't holding the baby and the baby was safe. However, instead of helping me, Deborah and Bob both jumped to comfort the baby, who was crying, and left me at the bottom of the stairs. My legs were fine, but I was wobbly because of the shock and asked one of them to help me up. After nearly 10 whole minutes of being ignored, I managed to stand up on my own and hobble through to the living room. I sit down and Deborah says, quote, "What happened to you? Are you okay?" I'll admit, I saw red. I just said, "I fell down the stairs. Didn't you hear me calling you for help?" Deborah's eyes widened, and she said she was too busy fussing over the baby. After an hour, my arm was swelling up, and I was taken to the hospital. Luckily, it was nothing serious, and recovery time would be quick. After my boyfriend got home and his parents left, I told him I no longer want their help after today's events. I can manage on my own, even though it'll be hard. He was taken aback and said they've done a lot for us. I said I appreciated it all, but they ignored me crying and calling them for help for 10 minutes after I fell down the stairs. They didn't care about me, only the baby, and I was embarrassed I didn't see it sooner. He called his parents to let them know we wouldn't need their help anymore, and his dad said, quote, "Is it about today? We really didn't hear her." My boyfriend just told them they're invited to the Sunday roast this week, and that's all. I could tell he was not happy about my decision, but he said he went along with it because I'm the mother.
That's good.
Fast forward to Sunday, and my brother-in-law and sister-in-law are guests as well. Sister-in-law has a 3-year-old and is totally on my side, but brother-in-law is not. He told me to, quote, "be grateful to his parents for their support, as they're significantly more well off than my parents. And
That's rude.
paid for many newborn/infant expenses and plan to pay for many more as the baby grows." Since then, Deborah keeps calling, asking if we need any help, and says she feels awful not seeing the both of you and that she misses the baby. Am I the asshole for not wanting them helping me in my day-to-day life?